Hi friends, welcome back to the art room. Mrs. Nolte here. We have a great project today called the Textured Rainbow Train, and it's based on a book by Donald Cruz called Freight Train. It's published by Green Willow Books. So come on into the art room and let's get started. Okay friends, so to begin our lesson we're going to have to pull some materials together. So what we're going to need today are some scissors, markers, a glue stick, crayons, and some coloring pages that I uploaded for you. Today's project is about texture. So what is texture? Texture is how something feels when you touch it. Tree bark can have texture. It can be bumpy or rough. A brick has texture when you rub it. You can feel the little dots in it. This arm of the chair has a woven texture. It would feel scratchy, or this carpet. We're going to create texture in art by using these objects to make a rubbing with a crayon so that we can see the texture and not only feel it. So these are texture plates. If you have a texture plate, you can use this for the project. And how you would use a texture plate is you're going to take your paper that has the squares on it for our train cars, and I've given you 7. You only need 6, so you have an extra one if you'd like it. We're going to make a crayon rubbing in rainbow order. So I'm going to start with my red crayon, and I'm going to gently rub it over my texture plate. And I've sped this up so I'm not actually drawing this fast. Now I can see my texture to add to my art and not only feel it. But what happens if you don't have a texture plate? Well, that's okay, because we can go around and find some things in our house to make a rubbing from. So I'm going to make a rubbing from the carpet in my sunroom. There's my sunroom. And my carpet is very bumpy. I'm going to put my paper on the carpet and very gently I'm going to rub it with my crayon. So this is going to be my yellow train car, and I'm going to color it in. I finished with my yellow car, and now I'm doing a few other train cars, and I'm doing them in rainbow order. So this is my green car, and this is going to be my blue car. And again, if you don't have a rubbing plate, you can find things around your house that have texture on them and make a rubbing. Just make sure you don't get crayon on your carpet. Stay right in the square. So here are my 6 train cars. They're in Roy G. Biv order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. I'm going to color in my train now, and pick any colors you want. You don't have to color it the same way I did. When you finish coloring, we're going to cut out each of the train cars and the engine. I like to cut mine into smaller squares first to make it easier so that I'm not trying to move around a large piece of paper. The extra one I don't need, so I'm going to put that one aside. Now I'm going to carefully cut around each square. I'm going to make sure I keep my thumb facing the ceiling, and I'm going to move the paper and keep my scissors pretty straight. Once I have all my squares cut out, I've got one more to do. I'm going to cut out my train engine. Make sure you put your scraps in the trash. Oh, there we go. I'm going to cut around the train. And again, I'm moving my paper and not moving my scissors. I'm taking little tiny bites as I'm cutting and trying to be very careful. There we go, there's my train. Now my train's going to be kind of long, so I need an extra long piece of paper. So I've taken some drawing paper and I cut it in half. And then I'm going to glue the 2 ends together so I can have an extra long piece of paper for my train track and my train. Glue the end and make sure it's nice and firm. And then I'm going to draw my train track. Now my train track is going to be 2 parallel lines. Parallel means two lines that are next to each other, side by side. Once I have my parallel lines done, I'm going to add some short vertical lines up and down going along my train track. And I sped this up so I don't draw quite this fast. Now we want to add our train onto our tracks. And I'm going to do this in a reverse rainbow order because our book talks about the red caboose, which will be the end of the train. So I have purple or violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. I like to use a little piece of scrap paper when I glue so that I don't get glue on the table. So now I have all my train cars glued down, and it's time to add some wheels, some car links, which are the little connectors that keep the cars together, maybe some doors, some windows, some ladders, or anything that you can think of that you might want to add to your train. My first car here, I'm going to add some doors to it. I'm really liking how the texture of each of these trains is a little bit different, and it creates a little interest in my train, not just having a blue box, but having some fun lines and bumpy and lumpy texture to it. Here's a couple more wheels for my green one, and I'm going to go on to my red. So the red train car was actually our caboose. Our caboose is going to have a roof, a platform, a couple of little ladders on the sides. Oh, I like the texture on that car. I'm even going to color in my roof. I think it could use some windows too, so I'm going to add a couple little windows. Now, before I started drawing my cars, I went and I looked at some pictures of some train cars to get some ideas. So I know that some train cars have ladders on them, and a lot have large doors. This one's going to be transporting something that's yellow. It could be bananas. It could be gold coins. I don't know, just something kind of fun. But you can have it yours, be whatever you like. So while we're finishing up, you may decorate your cars however you'd like to decorate your train cars. And when you're finished, I'd love to see what you're doing. So if you could take a picture and upload your picture of your train and we could share it, that would be great. And the last thing I need to add, because this train is a steam engine train, is some steam. So I'm going to take a black and a gray crayon, and I'm going to draw a little steam coming out of the engine. These are the little puffy smokes of steam coming off. And I'm going to add a little gray. And as we finish up on our steam locomotive, I hope you enjoyed this project today. I enjoyed making it. We learned a little bit about how texture is something that you can feel, and you can take that texture from those objects and make rubbings out of them so you can make art that has patterns and are interesting. We also learned about rainbow order. I had a lot of fun making this project, and I can't wait to see what you do. So when you're done, upload your pictures and we can share them. See you next week, everyone. Bye.